Hi, I'm Naseem. I'm the head of the English department. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the different A-level courses that we run in the English department, what it's like to study English, and also what skills you develop through the study of any of the English A-levels that really support you in your further academic study or indeed in the workplace. So in the English department, we run all three English A-levels that are available to study. So we run the English Literature A-level, the English Language A-level, and also the English Combined A-level. So in the study of any of those English A-levels, you develop the ability to be creative, to think independently. Our English classrooms are never silent. We always encourage discussion and debate and sharing ideas. In terms of the skills that you develop in English, you will develop a range of different skills no matter which English A-level you study. So you develop analytical skills, the ability to put forward a highly coherent and convincing line of argument. You also engage with highly complex theoretical perspectives. And so you're really developing your critical thinking skills as well. And these sorts of skills go on to support you in a range of different academic endeavours at university, or indeed a range of different jobs. So English is, as you know, a traditionally academic subject. Any of the three English A-levels are really well regarded by a range of top universities. Our students go on to study law, they go on to study journalism, they go on to study marketing or advertising, social work, linguistics, history, politics. So there are a range of different degrees that an English A-level will support you in. So a number of our students who study English actually go on to study medicine at university, which is not normally a combination that you'd think would work well together. English is a very complementary subject because it develops your ability to be able to communicate well with your patients in the future. So one of the main questions we normally get asked at open events is, what's the difference between the English Literature A-level and the English Language A-level? So I'm going to start off by telling you a bit about the English Language A-level. English Language at A-level is, I think, quite different to what you study at GCSE. So you cover a lot of new content. Things like sociolinguistics, so looking at accent and dialect, looking at different attitudes to accent and dialect. For example, the Brummie accent and the Scouse accent often rate the lowest in terms of opinion polls. So we look at how valid those sorts of judgments are. Are they actually based on the sound, or are they based on what we associate actually with the region? We also study things like language and gender. We look at linguistic research studies that argue that men and women supposedly use language differently, like men interrupt more, and really interrogate whether that's actually the case. And findings would suggest that actually men and women's speech isn't really as different as we've been led to believe. There's also a strong analytical focus in English language. You will study only non-fiction texts, so there's no study of fiction, no poetry, no novels, no drama. You study things like newspaper articles, transcripts of spoken speech, adverts, and there's quite a focus on technical analysis, so quite a lot on unpicking how the grammar in a text really shapes meaning. It's also a good course for aspiring journalists. You do quite a lot of work analysing representation in the media, and there's also part of a coursework component which allows you to write your own newspaper article, and there is a relatively free choice there in terms of a topic that you might like to write about. I'm going to tell you a little bit about English literature at A-level. So the study of English literature at A-level is solely the study of literature. So we study poetry, we study prose fiction, novels, and we study drama. We cover a range of different texts. We study Shakespeare. You will be studying a genre, either dystopian fiction or Gothic literature. We also study some 19th century texts, the poetry of Rossetti, and a play by Ibsen called A Doll's House. So there's quite a range of texts from different periods. We also study some modern texts, so 20th century literature for coursework, for example, the poetry of Sylvia Plath, and the novel Purple Hibiscus by Adichie, or The Light We Cannot See by Doerr. It does depend who your teacher is as to exactly what combination of texts that you will study, but that gives you an idea of the range. So what will we be exploring in literature as we study these texts? Well, if you're studying the Gothic genre, for example, studying texts like Angela Carter's The Bloody Chamber, Stoker's Dracula, we look at some of the core focus in Gothic literature, which is often about what it is to be human. It delves into this tension between, are we driven by logic and rationality and reason, or actually are we driven by our primal desires and we have less control over ourselves than we might like to think that we might think that we do. We also study dystopian fiction. So if you're studying dystopian fiction, you'll be studying George Orwell's 1984 and Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. And some of the things that you'll be reflecting on there is thinking about how some of these kind of nightmarish visions of dystopian societies actually reveal some kind of fundamental flaws within the world that we're living in at the moment. Shakespeare at A-level in literature is also quite different. We do some close analysis, which you'll be familiar with, of Shakespeare's language and dramatic technique. But we also have a real focus on interpretation. So something that's quite different from GCSE is we watch a variety of different stage and film adaptations, thinking about how directors interpret the text in different ways. In literature at A-level, what's also different is that we study a lot of literary criticism. So literary criticism is essentially what professionals in the field of literature, how they've analysed the text in different ways, and we look at what different critics say about the different texts, how they interpret things in different ways, and you will get to develop your critical thinking skills to evaluate, you know, as an A-level student, an expert in literature yourself, how valid do you think some of those critical judgments are about the texts? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bit about the English Combined course. The English Combined course really suits students who have a kind of dual love of analysing both literature, poetry, prose and drama, but also really enjoy the analysis of non-fiction writing as well. So in English Combined, you'll study literary texts like the poetry of Carol Ann Duffy, one of my favourite novels, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. You'll also study a Shakespeare in your second year, Othello, also incidentally, my favourite Shakespeare. You will also, though, alongside that study of literature, you will be studying a range of non-fiction texts. So there is an anthology of non-fiction texts that you study that's really far-reaching and diverse, from looking at how a Native American chief addressed people in a speech in the 19th century, to looking at a TV interview with Dizzy Rascal. And you'll develop your linguistic skills in your analysis of those non-fiction texts. The English Combined course is also a really good course for those who are interested in writing. The English Combined course is the only English A-level actually where you can really develop your ability in fictional writing. So there's an exam component that looks at short story writing. And also one piece of coursework is non-fiction writing, where you can choose to write, for example, a newspaper article about any topic of your choice. So you learn quite a lot about journalism as well. To study any of the English A-levels that we offer at Greenhead, you need to achieve a level 5 in your English language GCSE. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rona Innes and I'm an A2 English Literature student.
And what do you enjoy about English literature?
I enjoy the extra research into critics and finding out lots about context and further reading into genre and the novels.
Which author inspires you?
Out of the A-level course, we're doing Adichie, who writes Purple Hibiscus. I find the most inspiring as she is different to the normal male and white English writers that you tend to study at GCSE. And she's got interesting background and context in Nigeria, and she's a really good writer.
I'm Jemima Allen, and I'm studying English literature at Greenhead.
What do you enjoy about English literature?
I enjoy the chance to be able to really delve into the analytical aspect of all the texts that we study, and to be able to pair that with critical thinking is really interesting.
Is there an author that inspires you?
I think for me, I enjoy being able to read like ancient tragedy and then comparing that with the modern tragedy that we study. So with Isbin and with Miller, I really enjoy that.
And what do you hope to achieve after your A-levels?
I would very much like to go to university and study classics in English literature. So yeah, what I've done in English literature should hopefully help me a lot with that.